Welcome back to Whole Wheat Costa. This is, I guess, our fourth. So I've been naming them Alpha, Beta, whatever's after that. I'll have to look it up.
Is Omega the last one? Yeah, Omega's last, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's four. So this is Delta.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And then
what would 3 be?
let's see.
I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, Charlie.
Trace.
Charlie.
Trace.
Charlie. Trace is a gay man's name. So the whole thing is every week we learn a little more about podcasting, and I didn't realize how much work actually went into it, but I learn a little more every week, and now I'm playing the waiting games trying to get this podcast approved. So we're gonna be like weeks behind. So tonight we're gonna talk about like Game of Thrones. So we might
Episode
be like,
1.
Episode 1, season 7.
You'll hear it like in season 8, but
you know, there'll be the season finale. Like, welcome to the podcast. We're gonna be talking about this episode 1. People are like, yeah, we've already watched all the YouTube videos on it.
So just act surprised.
Yeah. So tonight our beer table is a little different. Kevin has Miller Fortune.
My beer table's the same.
Yeah. Kevin has Miller Fortune. I have Cherry Coke and Captain Morgan that I mixed with a pen that we write our topics down with. It's pretty tasty.
It tastes like topics.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing on the beer table is my redacted topic list.
Oh, well, actually, I just rewrote it because I can't read his writing. And I told whatever. He doesn't listen. But anyway, I just start off with the Ben Salem murders. Are these the murders about the 4 bodies found?
I'd also like to point out before we start that my pop filter is the other way.
Yeah.
It's coming from the top, and it's right between. You know when like someone like puts a finger right between your eyes and it feels real weird. That's what I feel like right now. I'm gonna feel this way the whole podcast. It's creeping me out.
He couldn't get it to stay up like mine.
I could
Mine's
keep my pop
awesome.
filter up.
So are the Ben Salem murders the murders about the 4 people that went missing and they found the bodies?
There might be more now. I don't know. I haven't followed on the last day, so I mean, I really prepared for this discussion. Yeah, I mean, essentially, is a guy in Ben Salem who went to Holy Ghost, where I went to high school, who killed some other guys, including other guys from Holy Ghost. There's some weird beeping outside. Sorry.
There's a fire or someone died or something.
Oh
outside.
yeah. It's really messing up the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a crazy story. I mean, it's a national news story now, which is never good when like your local area makes the national news. But essentially he lured like all these kids out to buy weed, and then murdered them all and like ran over one with a backhoe and like burned their bodies and like all, just this crazy serial killer stuff. Its big impact on my life is that I like to talk a lot of shit about South Philly, and now my high school that I was like this great private high school, and I thought was like this is and I always talk shit like about how great my upbringing was. Now this guy is a mass murderer. So
how old is he?
20.
Oh, it's holy shit.
Yeah. So. But it sounds like so part of the story. So he was from like a pretty wealthy family. His father owns like a concrete business and inherited a bunch of real estate from his father when he died. So I mean, he was really well set up in life, and apparently had some sort of ATV accident last year. So I don't know if this is weird personality changes after like a brain injury. I mean, we see Gary Busey with like a frontal lobe injury or what happens.
Yeah. His son says that's all an act.
Really?
Yeah, when the cameras are off, like he's fine, but he says like he's a little out there, but he says that's an act. Like I know my father, that's an act.
Yeah, so I really thought with Gary Busey because I mean he had that very well documented like frontal lobe injury. So I mean that's where your personality seat is. So, and then, I mean there's other like documented cases that sort of thing happening, but
well, even his early movies, he was out there. But now he's really out there.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, since that he's out there enough. What was that show a few years ago where somebody literally just convinced like Comedy Central to let them follow Gary Busey around with a camera?
I thought you were talking about Celebrity Rehab.
Oh no.
Also pretty good.
No, there was some show where literally a guy just followed Gary Busey around with a camera, and Gary Busey, after a while, started to interact with him. I don't know that Gary Busey is even on board with the show.
Can you sign his permission? What?
But then, yeah, so, so I don't know if it's that, I mean, you always, and I don't know, and this really freaks me out, but, in your early 20s, you can have a schizophrenic break too. You can be totally normal up to that point and then have issues. So I don't know. So, I mean, I guess we don't know yet what's going on with him, but he had like one of his cousins was an accomplice too. I honestly know most of it because one girl that I work with is obsessed with the story and like literally came in like the day it broke him, like had had the Facebook connection between all the guys, had their Facebook pages up, knew the one kid's grandmother's name and how she involved in the story, knew the guy's address. So
usually the Philadelphia area, whenever it's national news, it's just political corruption. Like,
yeah, I know.
Murder's a dime a dozen. But when some guy like has 4 bodies on his front yard or whatever, that's a little weirder.
But I don't know. Yeah, actually, I guess I first found out about it because there was somebody stole our doormat, and my girlfriend posted like, posted something on Facebook like, suppose the Northeast is so great. First a stolen doormat, now a quadruple homicide. Like, what's next?
MatGate.
Yeah, exactly.
We had MatGate down there.
Oh, really?
They power washed our front of our condos, and all the mats were just on the grass. And the lady, she's just miserable. Every time you say hi to her, she's like, me. And you're like, what are you so miserable about? Like, me, my brother and I, we're pretty miserable, but we'll say hi to someone.
Yeah.
And she took our mat. I mean, the mat was here when we moved in, so it's not like, it said Costa on it or anything.
Yeah.
But she took our mat. So my brother, like, takes it. And then she, like, takes it back, takes her mat that was hers. I guess she liked ours better.
Yeah.
Flips it over so it's all black. And we're like,
huh.
Now you can't even, like, scrub your feet off or anything. So it's a MatGate all the time. I wonder who has your mat.
I mean, I just assume someone from South Philly came up and steal it. I mean, that's a long way to steal a mat, guys. I mean, there's other mats in South Philly.
Yeah, maybe Amazon guy like took it.
Maybe
he put the package under. He's like, "This is really nice mat."
Actually, this is totally not interesting at all. But I have an issue with doormats. I can't get any cool ones because my door is really low to the step, so it has to be a really low mat for it to fit. So I can't get any of this big chunky like good holiday mats.
Or like one of the mats that say "Welcome, go away."
Yeah, no, that's too much. It would be too thick.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that I have too much to say about this story. I mean, I don't know. I think the one thing, I don't know. I think the one thing I was thinking about it was that it's kind of strange. I feel like when you think about certain like historical mass murderers, like you very easily call them serial killers.
H.H. Holmes.
Yeah. So and I think there's a number of people that you would initially, when you hear their name, you would think, oh, this guy's a serial killer. But living through this now, and seeing the news stories now, this guy's killed 4 people that we know about. Supposedly, I don't know if it's true because the guy's just crazy, but I just read right before we started here an article that the guy might have killed 2 other people when he was younger that he just confessed. So I mean, so this guy's clearly a serial killer, but I haven't heard anyone say that word yet, like on the news about him. Right. I guess it's really something you put more in like to put something in historical perspective, not like something you think about at the moment. But I wonder how if there's going to be some like crime channel show about this guy 20 years from now or something.
Probably.
Yeah. So that was the only. I don't know. Yeah. I can think of much else to like take away from the story besides.
So the town I used to live in before I moved here, there was just recently a murder, but before that there was a murder case. It turned out not to be a murder.
Okay.
So
the guy was alive the whole time.
No.
You just sprung back up.
So the first day I hear about it, it was on like the news, and they're like
the news.
Yeah, the news.
Fox News.
Yeah, any news, and there was a murder in Maple Shade. A woman was shot in the face with a shotgun. I was like, holy shit! Like it's like a mile away from me.
It was really just a shaving accident. She had terrible beard.
Hold on, it gets better. So like as the days go by, people were like, "Oh, Maple Shade's not safe," and then we found out that it was just a break-in and entering. Like,
Yeah.
and then we found out the guy didn't even have a shotgun, and then we found out he just kicked the door open, waved a knife at her, stole a bunch of stuff, and then left.
It's equivalent to a Maple Shade shooting.
Yeah, it went from a shotgun to the face to the guy just broke in, put a knife to her, and then left with her stuff. And I was like, that's not really a murder. But then the apartment complexes I used to live in, I was working in the back where I work, and everyone like people were like, oh, you got to come check this out. And I was like, check what out? And they're like, where I used to live, there was a murder. This mom and son got murdered and thrown in a dumpster. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. So I go check it out on the news. Not only was it not where I used to live, they weren't thrown in the dumpster.
And they were alive.
No, they weren't. They were the house was broken into. They were killed, and the husband came home.
Yeah,
that's all it was. It was just makes Maple Shade like on topic, and it's like these aren't national stories, but a triple murder. That is a national.
It's a quadruple
murder.
Yeah,
that is, and the doormat. That's a national.
Yeah. The only thing that was outrageous about the story was like the amount. Like, I mean, he was apparently selling these kids like pounds of weed. Like the one kid was like buying $8,000 worth of weed from him. So, so I mean, I've never bought or smoked weed, but I'm pretty sure that's a fuck ton of weed.
Yeah, 8,000 pounds.
$8,000 of weed.
$8,000. That's got to be a couple pounds of weed.
Yeah, right? I don't know. But
I was told before that you could buy crappy weed for a pound. You could buy for like $1,200. So or at least 2 pounds, right?
Yeah. But I don't know. That just made me think of for some reason I was reading the other day a whole bunch of. This is just another dark things. We're talking about the murders. Apparently there's been a rash of like acid attacks in London. Apparently it's a thing that's not super uncommon, like in like India and countries like that, where where women are more covered up.
Muslim countries.
Yep. Yeah. But apparently it's been happening more in London. I don't know. I was like sort of slow at work the other day, and I was reading, like I just typed news into Google, and it brought me to BBC because apparently that's what Google considers the news. And
everyone's tired of hearing about Trump being stupid and a quadruple murder, so they're like, let's talk about something here.
Yeah, no, I just thought about it just right now, but I'm pretty sure when I typed news in the Google search bar, the only links that came up were to BBC stories. But yeah, I just went down this whole big rabbit hole of like different like stories about acid attacks, and I just think it's, I mean, the most like sort of terrifying, fascinating thing, because like you're just, I mean, even more so than someone that was like burned in a fire, because imagine you're just walking down the street in like broad daylight, and then like your just life is completely changed forever in like 3 seconds. I mean, that's just completely insane.
The attacker has to be unhinged, because why do you care about someone else so much that you have to throw acid on them?
It's honestly to like fucking like loser guys that like some girl broke up with them or cheated on them or something like that. Right. I don't know.
If something that bad happens to you like that, don't attack them. Don't attack anybody else. Just just sit around in your self-pity. That's what most people do.
I don't know. It like made me mad reading the story. Is I just wish there was a worldwide law. Like if you do something, like somebody just be done right back to you. Like that's, like that. Like that should be the punishment.
Yeah, my dad always said that if anybody ever did anything to his children, the 3 of us, that he's like, I'm gonna find them and I'm gonna do that to them plus something 10 times worse.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't care about going to jail. He's like, I might even end up in jail next to him.
Yeah.
Because he was telling me from different stories that if you have enough money, you could bribe a judge to put you in any jail.
That's probably true.
So,
So I've already finished my first podcast beer, one of 2. So I feel like it's early in the podcast for this, but I'm also concerned for next week because I only have one more Miller Fortune in the fridge, and if I forget to buy more on the way, we can only do half a podcast. We can only do a half hour.
Here's the thing. Yeah. I have a liquor store down the street.
Yeah.
I know. I've walked there plenty of times because I can't drive
Yeah.
there.
And by next week, I mean like sometime whenever you guys are going to hear this. So,
Middle of December
yeah.
next year. It doesn't matter.
So, yeah, I don't know. That's, yeah. So that's a pretty dark way to start things. I guess Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Um, so, so I liked a lot about this episode. Episode 1 for you guys listening at episode 5 time.
Episode 1, season 7.
Yes. Dragonstone.
Beric Dondarrion, coolest character, also coolest name.
I could listen to the guy who plays Beric Dondarrion narrate anything.
Beric Dondarrion, Thoros Amir, and the Hound.
Those scenes were awesome.
Those scenes were the best scenes
Yes.
in the entire episode. Then the second best scene, even though all the Arya stuff is just terrible.
Oh my god.
Her talking to the soldiers.
Yeah.
About like basic life, and it kind of brings back to Jorah was like Jorah said, like, they don't care about who's king, they just care about like a good harvest in a short winter.
Yeah. I was really glad to see that scene because I mean my sort of issue is like every time we've seen common soldiers, they're like murdering rapists, and like I'm pretty sure no one thinks of the military that way. I'm pretty sure these guys were just conscripted to fight in the army, or were poor and had to volunteer to fight in the army.
Yeah.
I really think part of the point of Game of Thrones, which I think that Benioff and Weiss will miss, but I think part of the point of the book series is going to be in the end, that the High Lords are evil, that that sort of feudalism and I think we talked about the Preston Jacobs stuff before.
Right.
The feudalism's evil, that the High Lords, causing all this death and destruction for their own like petty squabbles, like that's evil. The soldiers aren't evil, and so to this point, the betrayal of them was crazy. So I really enjoyed that scene to see just sort of normal guys sitting around. I mean, I don't know. It just felt very calming, like how nice they made everyone. Ed Sheeran did a fine job, although I like the meme that's like that's something like Ed Sheeran is clearly like a nerdy kid who like found a genie and got 3 wishes and wished to be famous.
Yeah. It's kind of like modern politics now is people worry about all this other stuff. Like, you have 2 children. My brother, he has 2 children.
Yeah.
And these politics are fighting for this and fighting for that, and you're like, how do I raise my 2 children?
Yeah,
so
I really give a shit about any of it.
You're like, I want food in their stomachs, I want a roof over their head, and I want them to be well educated, and then like they become successful adults. And
Yeah.
like that's all like you or my brother and anybody that have children should worry about. And like it's these politicians are like, oh well, we're gonna do this, cut tax. You're not worried about the everyday person. You're worried about everything else. And then there's a lot of people that are worried about their own personal beliefs, which is great. But then you have to worry about how can everyone survive, and not necessarily equal, but as equal as you can make it, because equality comes at a cost. I mean, you look at a doctor does so many years of school, they should earn more than a person that works at McDonald's. But the person that works at McDonald's that has 2 children, is working at McDonald's and Burger King, working 80 hours a week. Their children, just like the doctor's children, should have food in their stomach and not worry about whether or not they can keep a roof over their head. That's what every good parent is worried about,
Right?
And not all this other shit that's affecting the rest of the world. Why don't other governments and heads of states should just worry about how to treat their people, and our government worries about how to treat our people.
Yeah, and I honestly think that's some of the take-home message of Game of Thrones, or what it's supposed to be anyway. I mean, it's couched on all the fantastical stuff and dragons and stuff, but I think that's supposed to be kind of the point. But yeah, I thought that was a great scene. I didn't know, because you never know the Game of Thrones is going to turn dark at some point. Like where Arya was like, oh, "I want to kill the queen," and then they were all like, "Aha!" She was like, "No, but for real though." Like,
it was a good scene. Like the one guy's like, "Oh well, my wife just had his baby," and Arya's like, "Have you ever seen it?" Like, no, they don't send ravens out to us. We're just soldiers.
Yeah, yeah, it was good.
And So that it made it. It was one of the few scenes that made humanity.
Yeah.
You know, gave
Um,
Game of Thrones like a human feeling.
that versus the absolute comic book bullshit that was the opening scene of the entire season. Like I really was really pretty nervous after that. I mean, so I heard some talking to people today. I heard some good points about it. Like, so I mean, it probably took a little while to set this thing up. So like, Arya just like knew how to rule the castle for like potentially weeks as Walder Frey. Like no one was suspicious where the two dead people went. Like all the Freys just immediately came back for another party. Like they didn't have any questions. No one was sick. No one couldn't show up.
Yeah.
Like all the Freys are really dead now.
All
like
the
it doesn't make any
important
sense. I guess. I don't know. And it was just a ridiculous scene. Like it's where, those are the scenes where you say, okay, this is DB Weiss and David Benioff's Game of Thrones fan fiction. This has nothing to do with A Song of Ice and Fire or anything else. Like this is just complete nonsense. Although I was thinking about it in fairness to them though. So back, after Arya escaped from Harrenhal, when Majak Nagar gives her the coin and stuff, I remember thinking at that point, like, oh, what should happen is, and I said it sort of half jokingly, was like, Arya should probably go to Bravos, learn how to be a faceless assassin, and then come back in like the last couple seasons and like just fucking kill everybody. And so that's kind of what I wanted, but now that it's happening, I think it's terrible. But it does sort of raise the question, like in a story like that, in a story where you talk about like a disempowered character gaining power, what do you do with them once they have the power? Like how could you make Arya's story interesting at this point? Right. Without making her look just like a crazy superhero? I don't know how you give her nuance anymore.
What I'm worried about is everybody talks about how Jon Snow is the last living son of Ned Stark, and Sansa is the last living child. But what happens when Arya and Bran come back to Winterfell? Like the ruling obviously is going to go to Bran.
Yeah. Bran's the rightful heir, unless I don't know. And there's debate about this, like what happened with legitimized bastards. So Jon Snow wasn't legitimized.
Right.
Stannis made an offer to legitimize him, but even if he did legitimize him, now that Stannis is dead, it's gone. Like he's a bastard again. Right. So in order for him to like rightfully be the king, he would have to, or the king of the North, he would have to be either take over everything and be the king and then legitimize himself, I guess.
Right.
Or he'd have to be legitimized by the Iron Throne, which they're clearly not going to.
Well, who else could legitimize him?
I think that's it. I mean, it has to come from like the king can legitimize the bastard. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Because that's who
Ramsay.
Yeah. Ramsay Bolton got the naturalization from Joffrey, I think, at that point.
Right.
Which was a really great scene. I really liked that scene back a couple seasons ago, where he like kneels and he becomes a Bolton. I thought that was awesome. I really liked Ramsay.
He's like, we have 700 miles to the north, 1,000 miles to the south.
Yeah.
So he's like that's the north. It's bigger than all the other six. So it was very. Actually, I liked him, Bruce.
Yeah, I liked both of them. Even though it's it's different. There's not the blood there. I kind of look at Allison as my little Ramsay Bolton.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It would be awesome to make her a Kirk one day, but there's all but there's all that paperwork involved.
And lots of paperwork, and her dad has to die, so 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, but probably. Yeah. But I don't know. But yeah. So we're talking about the I forget what scene we were just talking about.
Bruce.
Before that, this season.
Jon Snow.
The Jon Snow. Yeah. So so I don't know. I feel like Bran would just from what we've seen of him, I guess we'll see if this comes up. He would probably denounce his claim because that's not the life he's about. Right. He's about being Bloodraven at this point. I mean, right. he basically even said he's a 3-eyed crow now.
Well, I mean, he has a werewood tree right at Winterfell, so he could still do both.
Yeah, I I kind of feel like the King of the North scenes though, like kind of like seem silly though. Like
Yeah.
I feel like anybody like someone makes a really good like stew, like a King of the North. It's
Yeah.
King of the North.
Yeah. I did like the argument between John and Sansa about how like Sansa's like you should just give the castles to loyal people. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, oh, and then John's like, no, I'm not gonna give. I'm not gonna give ancestral homes away. Like you can't blame the children for the actions of their fathers. And everyone's like, oh, like everybody agrees with everything that each other say. So what would you do if you were king? Would you give away ancestral homes, or would you let those small children run their homes, their castles?
I don't know. So that was a really interesting scene because I think that scene gets to the heart of at least what, again, I think after being influenced by Preston Jacobs et al. What I think Game of Thrones is about is, so the argument is feudalism right, or is like a meritocracy right? So Jon Snow is basically set up as the defender of feudalism. He's saying, yes, these people have done evil things, they're bad, they're not our friends, but I mean it's just how it is. So they're going to keep their castles because they have that last name,
Right.
and whatever they do doesn't matter because they're still Manderleys. And Sansa's saying,
not Manderleys. Manderleys are good.
I forget who it was.
Karstarks.
Karstarks, yeah.
And Umbers. Karstarks and Umbers.
Not only that, but this is multiple generations of Karstarks that have betrayed them.
Yeah.
Because Rob killed the other
father,
Karstark.
yeah.
Yeah. But so and then Sansa's saying, well, no, that's not how the world works. Like if someone fucks us over, like it doesn't matter that they're who they are. It doesn't matter if it's a Karstark. Like we should punish them for it.
Yeah.
But so it really was like really framed some of the central conflict of the show pretty well in that one scene.
I think because my opinion would I would clear the room,
Yeah.
then have a talk. But I think because the leaders of those houses now are
Yeah.
two young children,
Yeah, so they're easily controlled.
I'd make them wards
Yeah.
of my house, and I would give those houses away.
Yeah, or make them wards and put like some sort of star controlled region in control of those
Right.
castles maybe.
Yeah.
That probably makes sense.
Yeah, but there was no, they didn't really mention when she's like, oh, you should give it to loyal houses, but the loyal houses already have castles. You know what I mean?
I guess loyal minor houses that we don't know about.
Yeah, but then the Umbers and the Karstarks are big houses.
Yeah.
So do they have the manpower? Do they have the bannermen to actually control a castle and a region like that?
Well, those people will become vassals of whoever the new lords were of those areas.
Okay.
So that's what happened to, the Gardner kings were like the lords of the Reach before Aegon, Aegon's conquest, and then they defied him, and then the who's there now? The Tyrells. The Tyrells said, "Okay, well, we're gonna let you in," and then they got dispossessed, and then the minor house of the Tyrells became the major house.
Right.
So essentially, that's the swap that would happen.
Well, I would. I don't know. They should write a book on this show so we learn more about it.
Well, they did that.
Yeah.
The Song of Ice and Fire. There's like a history book.
No, I mean it was a joke. If George R. R. Martin could just release his
I
next
see what you're
books
saying.
so
Yeah.
we could read them, and see what happened.
I just want to know what happens with Stannis. He clearly does not burn his daughter.
Yeah.
That clearly does not happen.
And I mean, he might die, but I don't think he's gonna die in the books.
I don't think he's gonna die. I
quickly.
don't think it's like any way the way that he dies in the show.
Just like an idiot.
Just like a chump, just stumbling into an army. Yeah. So I don't know, but I don't know. The Jon Snow scene was stupid in some ways. The King of the North stuff I thought was weird. I feel like I don't know about the progressive stuff, is Lyanna Mormont?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I wasn't sure if that was the the current Lady Mormont's name, but
Yeah, she's 10 or 12 years old.
yeah. But so I mean, I totally get it for her to be with the feminism angle, but I felt like that was a little hitting you over the head with Jon Snow's. Although so interesting if they really play it out, but they probably won't. Because on the one hand, I thought they were really hitting you over the head with like, oh, Jon Snow's the good guy. He's so progressive. He wants to train women to fight in the army. He is awesome. But then on the other hand, you have that subtext of he supports feudalism.
Right.
So if the show is smart enough to play up that dynamic and make Jon Snow a complex character who is not just a good guy and like supports feudalism on the one hand, but like supports like feminism and like some progressive reforms on the other hand, that could be really interesting. They absolutely won't. They absolutely are trying to make Jon Snow look like the good guy by not killing those kids when really he's the bad guy because he supports feudalism. But Weiss and Benioff don't get that shit.
Yeah.
They're just fan fiction writers.
So cool scenes, kind of boring, but kind of cool. And they only showed those scenes because of Jorah at the end was the Sam.
I give no shits about Jorah. The whole fucking shit montage.
But if you think about
Did you enjoy the shit montage?
No, but
they played a little quirky tune in the background. This show's so funny now.
No, I thought it was good though, because Sam goes there to become a maester.
Yeah.
And like it's not just like, all right, you're here, you become a maester. Like you have to pay your dues.
Yeah.
And I thought,
but we already saw Sam doing that at the Castle Black.
Yeah, but now to become a maester, he's paying his dues, and it kind of shows you. I kind of like it. It kind of built up the all the maesters. Like it showed you a little more backstory of the maesters. So I like the scene. I like the scene itself. It was a little bit too long, and it was a little more. It was like Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, where they have the, where they do like the montage for like 5 minutes. Like it was a little.
Gotta have a montage.
It was a little hackneyed from recent shows, but I kind of liked it. Like he thought he was gonna show up and he's gonna learn chains and he's gonna research there, but no, they're like, no, you have to pay your dues. You have to clean shit and feed sick people.
So it really reminded me of the clean the kitchen scene in The Hobbit. Where it's like this real serious. They're gonna have this meeting. They gotta talk about killing the dragon and taking the gold back and taking the mountain back. And then it's like, oh, we're gonna have a frolic and clean the kitchen and throw dishes around. And then it goes right back to serious again.
Yeah.
Like it was so out of place. I don't know. I hated I hated the whole minute 45 seconds of shit.
You're right. It was a little annoying, but I think. It kind of gave you a little background that you needed. It kind of... Sam's not a good character.
No, he's not. Yeah. You know what made me flip the fuck out? Like, lose my mind, yell at the TV? So I felt like we had like a whole 10 minutes of Sam cleaning shit and we had the big reveal with Jorah, which wasn't a big reveal because who even cares about Jorah at this point? He has no connection to the story in any way.
He's coming back.
No connection to the story in any way.
No. He's coming back with who's
Gendry?
Gendry, yeah. He's bringing Gendry, who does have a connection because he's gonna have a warhammer and he's gonna fight in the north.
Jorah's hand sticking out was the equivalent of Melisandre really being secretly really old. Yeah. Like, they did nothing with it. It was just for shock value. It didn't mean anything. It wasted our time. It insulted our intelligence as viewers. It was a big 2 middle fingers from D.B. Weiss and David Benioff. They hate us all. They showed us how much they hate us all. Yeah. But the part that made me flip out was that Sam... So we go through all this. 10 minutes. 10 minutes of bullshit.
By the way... Season 1 through 4, awesome.
Yes, agreed.
5 and 6, terrible.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, all right, let's go.
It's 10 minutes of this terrible, boring Citadel crap to get the big reveal that Sam reads in a book that there's a lot of dragon glass on dragon stone. And then Sam even admits that Stannis told him. Stannis told him 2 years ago. They had a whole conversation. Yeah. A whole 2-minute long conversation where Stannis is like, well, how'd you kill the White Walker? And Sam's like, I used dragon glass. And Stannis is like, there's a shit ton of dragon glass on Dragonstone. That might be important for you to know. Like, he literally told him these things. Yeah. And Sam was just like, that doesn't seem important. And just forgot about it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Because of the way the show's going,
yeah,
Sam takes his fat ass takes a whole season to get there. It was stupid. The whole thing was stupid.
The season 2 baby is still 2 years old. Yeah. Like 6 years have passed.
Hey, don't get mad. Allison hasn't grown in 2 years.
It's true. But she at least got to inhabit a 4-year-old body before she stopped growing.
But here's the thing about it. He's gonna take another 3 episodes to get back up to the north or something to go. We need Dragon Glass. He's never gonna trade the Citadel. Never.
I don't know. It just made me furious. Again, I felt like the show was insulting our intelligence. Like that, no one remembers that conversation. Not only that, and this, I feel like a lot of viewers wouldn't know, but I feel like a lot of viewers probably do know because a lot of people are pretty dedicated to the show, and a lot of people like Stannis, like myself. So the season 2 promo video about Stannis Baratheon has Stannis read this whole thing. It's this whole speech about how he's the rightful king. Anyone that stands against him is his enemy. How he's going to crush. How he crushed the Greyjoys in the Greyjoy Rebellion. How he's going to crush everyone else.
Real quick, they talk about in this episode. They talk about how terrible the Greyjoys are at warring.
Yeah,
all right,
true.
Keep going.
So they talk about all that, and they say, and in this thing that happened like 4 or 5 years ago, Stannis says, I live on Dragonstone. It's full of some substance called dragon glass. I call it useless because I can't build weapons out of it. He said it like 4 or 5 or 6 years ago. HBO told us this fact. And semi-intelligent viewers at that point were like, oh, that seems important. So like we knew, but Sam is so fucking stupid that like I don't even know how else to express it. I'm just so exasperated by the fact that HBO has wasted so much of our time with this.
Think about this: they had the dragon glass knives, right? Why don't you just break that off into spears, or not spears, arrowheads? Then you have one dragon glass knife, or like 40 little arrowheads.
Break it up,
yeah.
But and then they said in the Jon Snow part of the episode about how he that's how they started out. Like, oh, does anyone know of any dragon glass around? And like Sam knew. Sam's known for 2 years.
He's like, we have to mine it. It's like, yeah, but what? Just go to Dragonstone. Like, it's a known thing.
Yeah. Speaking of Dragonstone, the second stupidest part of the episode, Cersei and Jaime.
Third.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, you talk about the area and then the Sam. So this has to be number 3.
And the ship part. So this looks like a number 4, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. So Cersei and Jaime basically say Daenerys is going to probably land on Dragonstone because it was left deserted by Stannis, and it has like good docks for it to land on. Why wouldn't you send a force to hold Dragonstone? Why would you just let a foreign invasion force land right off of your shores, establish a beachhead? Why would you just let that happen?
Yeah, well, they talk about it, and you're right. Why didn't they just go, you know what? Euron, go to Dragonstone.
Yeah, they knew.
Yeah, that's the first thing I would have done. Euron, you okay? Just you want loyalty? Go to Dragonstone. We know where they're going.
Just hold Dragonstone.
Yeah,
that's all you have to do. If you hold Dragonstone, they can't even land. They don't have anywhere to land.
Yeah, hold Dragonstone, and you know what? Dragonstone's yours.
Yeah. You could actually, that would have been a good deal to say he has the Iron Islands and Dragonstone. Because Dragonstone, there's no food there, like it's shit otherwise, but like it's an important strategic point in Westeros.
Right. That's why,
Yeah, that's why there's a castle there. Yeah.
Giant castle.
Yeah.
That's impenetrable.
So
you know what I don't get? All the previews show Gendry coming back with a warhammer. Gendry has never had a minute of training.
Yeah. I don't know that we don't know that Gendry can fight. He's a strong guy because he blacksmiths.
Yeah.
I guess he can repair their shit.
Yeah.
I guess like in this Weiss and Benioff fan fiction, he's like the armorer.
I know. I know. My prediction this season: Jon Snow's going to legitimize him. Gendry Baratheon.
Once he's king. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Interesting.
He has blood of, like they've already talked about. He has blood of a king, so like He's the
So
rightful heir.
he legitimizes Gendry,
Yeah.
Gendry Baratheon.
Is now the rightful heir.
He's the rightful heir. They put him on the Iron Throne, then he legitimizes Jon Stark. It's a real...
That's not going to happen, but it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right. So tonight, we
Yeah.
actually started podcasting earlier than we normally do
Yeah.
because you got here a half an hour early
Yes.
to fix your car.
So it's the worst car I've ever bought. I don't know if I complained about it last week at all. I don't think I did.
No.
Or, yesterday or however these podcasts
I mean,
get posted.
So this might air because of the time-sensitive nature. It might air before the rest of the podcast.
Yes.
Because we can always complain about Black China years from now.
Yeah. Black China will always be relevant.
That meme you sent me about Black China,
Yeah.
about her, she took off her wig and put on the blonde. Wig.
She has her white suburban housewife wig on now.
Yeah.
She's serious.
Yeah. All right. Car.
Yeah. So I just bought this awful car. I'll probably never buy an American car again. I mean, maybe Trump will fix the auto industry. I don't know, but my ex-wife still drives the 2007 Toyota Yaris that I bought. That was like a $14,000 brand new.
2007 cars are the best cars. I know because I have one.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was absolute bottom of the barrel, cheapest. Doesn't even have power windows,
Nope.
nothing. And it's never had a single problem. I mean, I don't know the last couple of years since she's been driving it, but I don't think so. I think it's essentially been perfect. It's a Toyota. So, and I remember when I bought it, they had a sticker on the window proudly saying that it was 100% Japanese parts. So, which for me would be a big selling point, because I have this Dodge Dart. I bought it brand new, 2014, thinking well, I need a reliable car. This is a brand new car. If there's a problem, I can take it back to the dealer. They'll fix it. It's under warranty for a few years. It's gonna be great. I've been through 9 or 10 tires, because I don't know if it's a suspension issue. I don't think I drive that crazy. I mean, I never had this issue in any other cars. I've been through 2 or 3 struts. I forget at this point, including some of the time when I didn't even get a flat tire and the strut just broke. As of a few hours ago, I had no working headlights. The check engine light's on. The air conditioner works about 75% of the time. And other problems I can't think of right now.
The air conditioner / heater.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, the air conditioner is great. It's the blower motor. So my one headlight went out a few weeks ago, and I was like, well, I got one headlight, it's fine. And then the other one went out last week. So I got to really gamify my life and play this fun game of having to get home before the sun went down every night so I could still drive legally.
Yeah. Well, in Pennsylvania, do they have the rule where if your headlights are on, or if your wipers are on, your headlights are on? Because
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh, they take that real serious.
Yeah.
Here.
Well, I was pretty nervous about it. I mean, I made sure to get home early every day, but still, it was a little rainy the last few days. I had to work over the weekend, so I didn't leave work till after 7:30, basically.
I got pulled over one time here, because I was just washing my window with window fluid, and so my windshield wipers are on. Light's not on. It's 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday.
Really?
Yeah, the cop pulls me over. It's like, your windshield wipers on, but your headlights were on. I was like, yeah, I was washing my fluid. He's like, you sure? And I was like, there's no sun showers. She's like, and he gives me the speech, and then he takes all my information, and he comes back. He's like, you're clean. Get out of here. Remember.
Maybe you just look suspicious. And you just want to give an excuse to pull you over.
Yeah. I don't know. And I was like, are you serious right now?
I mean,
because that's what cops love when you give them an attitude.
Yeah. And I'm actually the kind of person that's really pretty I turn my headlights on all the time because supposedly it makes you a little bit more visible during the day, even during in broad sunlight.
Yeah, I usually drive with my headlights on now too.
Yeah, it's the first I turn them on all the time. That way you don't forget at night. So it's really weird. But yeah. So I take it to like a National Tire and Battery place that's close by, just because I've gone there a lot. I figure, well, they can throw in a couple light bulbs. They probably have them there. So I take it in. They look it up. They say, "Oh, we don't have the light bulbs for your car because everything about this car is terrible and complicated for some reason." Anytime I've need to get any work done, which is about approximately every 3 or 4 months, nobody has the parts for the car, including the dealer who sold me the car, who is the Dodge dealer, doesn't have any of the parts for my car ever, and it sits in there for a week. Well, I pay for a rental car because they won't pay for my rental car.
Will your insurance cover a rental car?
Some of the time.
Oh.
So I've had some issues, but so I take it to this place. They take it. They're like, "Oh, we don't have the light bulbs for your car." So I'm like, "Okay." Well, I was like, "Well, I actually bought one because I was gonna change the one anyway. So can you put like one in so at least I can drive home, and then like I'll figure out the other one like some other time." And they were like, "Well, which one do you want?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like I don't think it matters. I just need one."
Driver?
Yeah. So they took it back, and then like I like walked over to the mall nearby, and they called me, and they're like, "Oh, you have HID lights, so this bulb isn't the right bulb." And I was like, "I don't know what that is, but okay." So I pick up the car. Now I have to rush home because it's like dusk, so I gotta make it home before the car turns into a pumpkin.
You're like a reverse vampire at this point.
Yeah, I can only be out during the day.
Yeah.
So I have to rush home. In the meantime, I stopped at a couple stores real quick, figuring like, maybe I can grab the bulb, and I'll figure out how to change it myself. So I stop at Walmart. They don't even carry the type of bulb. It's like a D bulb. It's like, in like the letters, like there's just ones that are all numbers. There's like D's, H's, whatever. They don't even carry the type. So then, I'm like, oh, well, that sucks. So I go to AutoZone, figuring, well, they probably have more stuff than a Walmart. They also don't even carry the type of bulb. So then I go to the guy at the counter, and he's like, yeah, let me look it up for you. And he was like, oh, well, there's a bulb right here. It's like $25. And then I was like, nah, I have the HID bulbs. And he was like, oh, let me look that up. So he looks it up, and he's like, holy shit. And I'm like, what made you say holy shit?
Like he just got a text from his wife, like, I'm having a baby. Yeah. And he's like, I didn't even know you were pregnant.
Yeah. And then he's like, well, you remember how like the other bulbs were like $25? These bulbs are $150 a piece. So if I went and bought them AutoZone, it would have cost me $300 to change the bulb with myself. So they're fucking light bulbs.
Yeah. So essentially, the Dodge Dart is like the trim package you got was Money Pit. Like they're like, we have the XLT, the XL, Money Pit, and you're like, all right, give me the Money Pit.
Yeah, exactly what I did. Yeah, and never buy the limited edition of any cars. So then I looked at Amazon. I got them much cheaper on Amazon.
You know what? You know why your X 2007 Toyota and my 2007 Saturn work?
Why?
Because they weren't limited edition.
Yes.
They made 100 million of each. Yeah, they were basic. Like my car, you could probably change the engine and transmission like with like basic hand tools.
You need your cars like you need your women. You need them basic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I found them much cheaper on Amazon. But then I'm looking up like how to change the light bulbs online. So I'm like, well, if I just figure out how to do it. But it was really hard because you type in like 2014 Dodge Dart HID, it comes up all these fucking douchebags who want to convert their cars to HID lighting for some reason. I have no idea. It's a light bulb, it looks the same as any other light bulb. If your penis is that small that you need to convert to the HID bulbs, you have bigger problems in life. Yeah. But that was all I could find for a while.
Well, I saw it. The connector.
Yeah.
You'd probably need a new wire harness. You would need different connections.
You do.
Light bulbs. It's probably like a $1,600 repair.
It actually costs less to buy the HID kit than to buy the HID bulbs.
Oh, yeah.
The kit was like $60 almost.
The converter kit?
Yeah, it wasn't that expensive.
Did it come with the light bulbs?
No, it didn't come with the light bulbs.
Oh, okay.
The bulbs were more expensive than the kit.
Yeah.
Although I found some on Amazon that came with the bulb and the kit, and they were cheaper than what the individual bulbs were at AutoZone. So before I found the cheaper bulbs, I was going to buy that.
Yeah. It's probably just an adapter then.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so then I came over earlier and JD threw in the bulbs while I changed my cabin air filter, which I just, it was an Amazon suggestion. I see you're buying light bulbs. Why don't you buy a cabin air filter too?
Which was black.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like when I just opened up the door, like dirt fell out. So
The new one was white. The old one was black.
yeah, there
And
was
that's not an exaggeration.
no.
It was black, like a tire.
Yes.
And it was completely like clogged, like a piece of rubber
Yeah.
all the way through.
So I was sort of hoping that maybe just like the system was so clogged up that that's why my blower wouldn't go on some of the time, but it doesn't seem to affect it. Although I was reading the Dodge Art forums that if you that what some people do that have the 2013 or 2014 Dodge Arts, because apparently many people have this problem with the blower motor, they just leave the passenger side panel open. And just when the blower motor doesn't work, they just hit it with a screwdriver, which is not a thing you should have to do with a car that's only 3 years old. Like, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, at least it's you who settled down. Like, imagine me who's single going on a date. It's 104 degrees out.
It pull a wrench to hit the thing.
Betty, can you just hit that for me? You know, or just you reach over. I'm just gonna hit it for you. Like, that'd be real embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a big pipe wrench in the glove box. Just take it out and hit it once.
she'd be like, "Okay, can you leave me off here? I'll Uber back."
Yeah.
You know, so that's good. At least you're settled down, and you know that
Yeah.
works. And I mean, knowing Kelly, that if you're like, "Hey, can you hit that?" She'd probably hit the wrong part anyway. So
Yeah.
you'd have to, you'd have to drive, look down, hit it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I think there's a lot of things like that that are like hard if you were single. Like I couldn't like so like I have sleep apnea, so when I first started dating Kelly, I was a little skinnier, and when I'm skinnier, I don't have the sleep apnea as bad, so I can I basically feel pretty good without using like the CPAP. But I gained like 20 pounds over the last couple of years, and I was really sleepy, and I started using it again. But I mean that was like essentially almost 3 years into a relationship. That before it finally like broke down and started to use like the CPAP again. Like I couldn't imagine being like a single like bachelor and like having really bad sleep apnea.
Hold on. First time you have sex, like, oh, I'm gonna fall asleep. Let me just put my CPAP
Yeah,
on.
I know. I mean that's really it'd be really difficult.
I snore, but it's not I don't snore terrible. Like if you're in the same room with me, it's probably annoying. But like,
I snore even with the CPAP on.
yeah, but you can't hear me through walls.
Yeah.
But I was dating that one girl, and she would spend the night, and I would always like wake up and like my nose would hurt, and then eventually she told me like, yeah, I would pinch your nose closely, and I'm like, are you a psycho? I was like, don't.
You tried to murder me.
Yeah, like I kicked her out of my house. I was like, don't actually talk to me ever again. Like,
Yeah.
like you don't hold someone's nose closed because they're snoring. Just wake them up and be like, hey, lose some weight, fat ass, and then like the snoring will get better.
Yeah, that's the issue I have now. So I started using the CPAP again, and so I have to lose some weight, and essentially when I was using it, it was like the cost. I mean, it was mostly covered by insurance, but like the company would just send you all these supplies that I never really changed as often as you're supposed to, so I'd have the same supplies forever. It's like a whole giant box full of shit.
How are those filters?
So I never got those to work right. Because there's like a little black like charcoal looking one, and then there's like a thin white one. Whenever I put the thin white one in, the whole thing would just pop out. So I never figured out those filters, but no, the same little black charcoal one's been in there for like years.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my concern now is like I don't want to start back with like a supply company like that because they charge you so much friggin' money. So I need to lose the weight before like my current mask like falls apart and I can't use it anymore. So because I don't know how I'm gonna get another one once it falls apart. I'm not actually going to see a doctor and getting a prescription, all that stuff again. I just need to lose like 20 pounds.
You should be good. You'll probably just die from it eventually.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, whatever. You'll finish paying your school loans and you'll be like, yes, my last one. My car's paid off. My house is paid off. This is great. And then just a heart attack.
Yeah, and that's what I say. I'm like really legitimately concerned about having a heart attack in my 30s because I feel like just like the amount of stress I have in life is like, I mean, I guess most people feel it. It feels like overwhelming at times. And you hear those stories occasionally about like someone that's like 2 young kids or something. They just drop over dead. I don't know. I'm like weirdly concerned about that.
So how old are you now?
33.
So I'm turning 29.
Yeah.
And my buddy Nate, who lives in Colorado, he's turning 30.
Yeah.
So I was trying to plan a 30th birthday party, but like plan a trip for me and a couple other friends to go out to Colorado
Yeah.
and hang out for his 30th birthday.
Hmm.
So the funny thing happened. I was talking to every week I talk about girl problems like for like 2 minutes, but this is probably the best one, the funniest one, because I'm sitting there with 3 other guys, and we're trying to plan this, and then so I go to check my phone to like look up something real quick, and it said, and I didn't say anything wrong or anything. This girl who was supposed to meet up the next day for brunch, she's like, "Hey, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Don't text me. I'm going to block you." And I showed my friends, and I was like, "What? What?"
You know,
And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna die of a heart attack before I meet another girl." like I'm not gonna make it into my 30s.
you know, they're good for her because how many girls have been like, you know, I think rude and like, you know, and like you've gone on a couple of dates and like then they just never text you back.
Right.
And like a couple of you were pretty upset about because like, you didn't know what was going on. Like a couple of girls you went with a few times.
But I did text her back, even though she said don't text me because I'm gonna block you. I was like, okay, thanks for not standing me up, because that's like the worst feeling in the world. Yeah. So like I was kind of glad about that, because I'm glad I didn't get stood up, because there's nothing. I mean, I've been to the place that I picked. Like I've been there a million times. But like sitting there for like 20 minutes, like no, someone else coming, and then you have to order by yourself.
Yeah, and it's like, nah, they're not coming.
Yeah. Oh, they text me. Then you gotta lie, and then you feel like like an idiot the whole time.
It does feel awkward. Like I've never been stood up on a date, but I used to have some friends that were like really late to things all the time, and it would be really uncomfortable. Like you'd be sitting in a restaurant for like 45 minutes waiting for someone, like at a table, and have to keep saying like, oh no, they're still coming.
Yeah.
No, I have friends for real.
Yeah, I've done that a bunch of times. I've been stood up 3 times. The first time I was stood up was real. It was a really weird day. My ex-wife, who left me in December, came over Valentine's Day Eve, February. When's Valentine's Day? 14th?
Yeah,
it was on
13th.
13th. She came over. She went out with these girls who never invited her out before, but they're like, "Hey, let's go out." And I was like, and I texted her. I was like, "Don't go out with them. They just want to be nosy." She never saw them after that again.
Yeah.
So she goes out and she comes over.
To be fair, that's all women though.
Yeah. She wakes me up on the couch, right?
Yeah.
As Valentine's Day the next morning, she spent the night, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna go on a date, and she's like, well, you want me to help you pick out an outfit? I was like, that's kind of weird.
Oh yeah.
I was like, all right, so I go.
I guess this is like when you were pretty newly broken up.
Yeah. I was like, all right, that's kind of weird, but sure. And then we had sex again, and then she left.
Yeah.
And then so I go on this date, and I was like, and I texted the girl, I was like, hey, it's Valentine's Day, but like it's not a Valentine's Day, right? And she's like, no, this is fine. We're just gonna meet up, get some like a late lunch, early dinner, or whatever.
Well, she's like, no, this is a Valentine's Day date. It's serious. It's the fuck on.
So I buy 1 rose because I thought like that'd be kind of funny or nice or whatever, and they sell them like by 1. And then I show up, and the waitress was like really nice about it. I was like, I think she stood me up, and she's like, oh, that sucks. And like she got me like a drink, and like another drink, and then I was like, hey, would you like a rose? She's like, oh, that's great. And then she talked to me for like an hour,
and then she didn't show back up.
No, she like clocked out and like sat with me.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, well, and then I texted like 2 of my friends, and then they showed up. And then, like, I ate a whole dinner after I was pretty drunk. And she's like, all right, well, I'm going to go. I was like, you want to trade numbers? She's like, no, I'm married. I was like, oh, that's real weird. All right, cool. So that's the first time I was ever stood up. And it turned out pretty good. Like, she, like, cheered me up. And then my friends, and then they paid for my dinner because they felt real bad for me because I've never been stood up before. So that was real bad. Then I've been stood up at other places. So the second time I ever got stood up, it felt terrible, but I was at a bar, so I just drank. And then I realized when I go on dates, now, I plan something that I enjoy in case I get stood up, and then I can still enjoy it.
Makes sense.
So,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I had some other point about that, but I just started drinking beer, and I was just picturing the so I don't know. I was just picturing the waitress situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of. I don't know. Oh, That's what I was thinking about. So when you started this whole story, it was about podcast hosts.
Yeah.
um, because
We have no podcast hosts.
no, there's none. But yeah, JD was sad on Saturday about some girl about the story. Yeah, this girl.
It wasn't that girl in particular.
Yeah.
It's that I have a strong belief that I'm not meant for it right now. So I completely gave up. I deleted my OkCupid account.
Which I think is a good thing at this
Not
point.
deactivated it. I deleted it. Then I tried to sign in. I was like, oh shit, I deleted it. I was like, well, I got to start over.
Yeah,
I got to start over fresh. So maybe I'll make like a new profile a couple months from now.
Yeah, no, I think it's probably take a break for a while because it's not making you happy to do it now.
It wears away at you.
Yeah, but yeah, he said about how this girl texted him and said she was deleting him and stuff and blocking him, and then I was like, I was gonna text him back like, don't worry about it, or no, I know she said like, oh, I guess she didn't know about the podcast, and then he said a couple other things, and about like how nobody wants him or whatever, and then I was like, oh, but once all these podcast hosts start rolling in, I mean, it's going to be fine. But I sent it to my girlfriend by accident. So then I text back. I was like, oh no, just send it to JD. There's clearly no podcast host. And then I texted to JD. I told him what happened, and I was like, hey, can you text Kelly and tell her there's no podcast host? I'm pretty sure she's aware of that already. But just to be safe.
She knows my track record, so she would probably laugh that off in the first place.
Yeah, but then I was saying to a girl at work I was telling her that story, and then when I said about the podcast, so she was like, I'm like, oh, maybe, and then I was like, no, I was just kidding. There's definitely not going to be a podcast host. And then she said something like, oh, well, I actually I listen to podcasts before I go to bed every night. So I don't know if that was she was a self-professed podcast host. I don't know, but apparently they might be out there. So if you're listening, JD's single. Just so you know.
Yeah. She got real confused by my name as well. And some people do get confused because I don't really like the name JD.
Yeah.
And most people just call me Jay anyway. Mainly, I think it's out of laziness. Yo, Jay, and they get my attention.
Why don't you just use your first name?
Yeah.
Why don't you just change it? I mean, you could pick whatever name you want.
Yeah. And then my mom used to call me Jaybird. And then that just got whittled down to Jay for 20
whittled
years.
down to Gaybird. It was crazy.
Yeah. Then my brother just calls me Jay, and a bunch of my friends just call me Jay. So I use the letter.
I'm gonna call you Jimmy.
I actually, that's the one thing I don't want to be called.
Why?
My uncle's a hillbilly, and he's Jimmy.
Yeah.
And then his son's Jimmy, and there's a bunch of other Jimmys, and they all have rednecks.
Jimmy the Third.
Yeah. So.
Jimmy 3.
So I tried to use J, the letter J, on Facebook, and it wouldn't let me use one letter. Yeah. So I just went to JAY. And so I was like, hey. So I tell people, like, hey, I'm Jay. But I never say it's JAY. I just say the letter J. And they're like, all right, JAY. Got you.
Like the
J.
agent in Men in Black?
Yeah. And they go,
all right, I'm K.
And they go, all right. Yeah.
It's like a weird sex role play we got going on. But I mean, like, whatever works.
And so she goes, a lot of people always ask me, so is your name Jason? And I go, no, it's James.
My name is whatever you want it to be, baby.
Yeah. And I go, no, it's James. And people are like, well, Jay's not short for James. I'm like, I'm an adult. I can pick any name I want. So she was very confused by that. And I was like, what are you so confused about? Like, just it's a nickname.
Yeah.
You know? Honey Boo Boo isn't that child's real name.
I'm pretty sure Honey is her name.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or Boo Boo. I think Boo Boo's her middle name.
Yeah. Well, that's another week of Whole Wheat Costa. This could air first or could air second.
You can listen at any time.
Yeah,
it's a surprise.
So these are our original episodes, and we're gonna get a lot better eventually.
An amazing HD radio.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not.
I mean, I have an analog board in front of me, so probably not.
Yeah.
So, but talk to you later.